Welcome into the Wit and Grit Podcast, brought to you by Hammer Truck Productions. We've got a lot to get to, so we're not going to have Sean telling any stories today, up front anyway. He might sneak one in during the actual podcast.
We'll see. I'll definitely sneak one in at some point.
I've got some best bets to give you guys for the NBA Monday night, and at least one season-long bet that you could still use if you don't hear this before Monday night. Also, if you hear this after Monday night, you get to enjoy judging me as I lay out that bet. We're going to cover F1 Jeddah. Formula One taking a week off coming up. So there's 2 weeks until Miami. We had our first winner who wasn't from pole. So if you aren't up to date on what happened, we're going to be covering that. And we're going to be talking about the NFL draft. How do you cover the NFL draft if your name isn't Mel Kiper or Adam Schefter or one of these guys that just watches film and tape and gets paid to do this all year? That's the question we here at Wit and Grit were asked by ourselves. And we came up with the idea of one mega AI mock draft. I took all the experts I could get a hold of. I had ChatGPT put them together, and we'll have extensive notes to go with it. We're going to touch on round one, but we're going to try to focus as much as we can on round 2 and 3, because apparently that's where the nuts and bolts of this draft are.
I've heard a lot of people describe this draft as like there's a lot of starters, but not a lot of superstars.
Right. Like, not a lot of people want to trade up.
Yeah. It's good for teams that are kind of rebuilding or kind of like in a soft reset mode, but not necessarily, the type of draft where you're going to draft the next face of your franchise. Like maybe there might be one or two of those guys in here, but
at the top of the draft, but like the year Mahomes went wasn't like a great quarterback class. He went 10th.
Yeah.
So, you never know who's going to fall into the right situation. And that's what we're going to talk about. Is like, do we think these quarterbacks are getting inflated late because people are trying to catch interest, like trying to get you interested so you'll watch on Thursday? Or is it really as bad as it looks? Is there going to be one quarterback going in the first round, or is there going to be more than one? We're going to be talking about that. And then we're going to try to cover Daredevil, Born Again. What a finale. We will give plenty of spoiler warnings. That'll be at the end. So if you want all the sports talk and you aren't caught up on Daredevil, don't worry. We'll make it abundantly clear. But I'm telling you what, as the draft gets closer and closer, the hype is getting real for Green Bay.
Welcome to Wit and Grit, your go-to for stats, chats, and everything in between. The Wit and Grit Podcast.
Welcome to the Wit and Grit Podcast by Hammer Truck Productions. This show is for entertainment purposes only. We discuss our personal sports betting experiences and share the bets we've placed. Please note that we are not financial advisors, and nothing in this podcast should be considered financial or betting advice. Ensure that sports betting is legal in your jurisdiction and that you meet the minimum age requirements. If you or someone you know is struggling with gambling, help is available. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You can text 800-GAM for free confidential support. Let's get the NBA out of the way. How about it? I can't.
NBA playoffs. Nope. I'm not muted. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody saw that.
Nobody caught it. So we're in the NBA playoffs. The best game of the weekend. It's easy for me to talk about. It was the Nuggets game. Went to overtime. The Clippers led all the way from when it was 13-11 in the first quarter until there was maybe 8 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then it became a game. They go into overtime, and Russell Westbrook with the redemption, he gets kept in. A lot of people, at least a couple people I know were talking to me, it cost them bets because the Nuggets went to overtime but didn't put Michael Porter Jr. back in the game because they had a chemistry going with the 5 guys that were on the court.
Right. Yeah. And in playoff time, if something's clicking, you ride that for sure.
Yeah. So honestly, it was just, and they won the game, so you can't critique him. But like,
right.
a friend of ours who I won't name on the podcast had an 11-leg parlay, and he hit 10, missed the 11th leg. It was
That's
on
brutal.
Porter Jr. rebounds, which he couldn't get because he wasn't in the game.
That is brutal, man.
It's a bad beat.
That was the best game of the weekend, though. No doubt. The Clippers Nuggets game. Yeah.
I think the Nuggets are going to win this series. I'm hearing a lot of the smart guys say the Clippers, and I know that I'm a fan, so let me try to justify this for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jokic is on the team.
Justification over.
Yeah, like Kawhi Leonard's there, but Kawhi Leonard has been alive as long as we have, and he's been around for as many Earth rotations as there have been since Toronto won a title.
Yeah.
He was hurt most of the year. I mean, I'm not saying that Kawhi can't maybe Superman his way through this, but it just seems like if they were going to steal a game, the game they led for almost three full quarters was probably going to be the one. Like that's going to take the wind out of their sails.
Oh, it's a tough series for both teams. I mean, I can't remember if we mentioned it last time. We might have just mentioned it talking, off air, but either of these teams could win the finals. And it's crazy that one of them is going to go forward and the other is going to go home. Because either one could. I mean, imagine if the Clippers did. I know it's not what you want to think about, but that would be Kawhi winning a title on his third team, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. If it happens.
It happens.
Yeah. It's a good series though. There's a lot of good stories in that series. It's the best basketball being played right now. So I'm eager.
And not to get too off topic, but another series that's interesting is the Lakers and the Wolves. Whoever gets out of that series, you can see really messing some stuff up because everyone said that the Wolves were not well equipped to take on the Lakers. Well, they did in game one. You don't want to overreact to game one, but I'm just saying, like.
Yeah. Yeah, the West is definitely a little more interesting than the East for my money.
Yeah. So the bet that I have two same game parlays and I round robin them, but essentially it's a couple different ways. It's a bunch of minimum player props put together. So I didn't take a whole lot of ambitious lines. I do have one or two to make it juicy.
Okay.
But let's start with the New York Knicks and the Pistons. I did Karl Anthony Towns over 24.5 on points and assists. That's an alt line. Cade Cunningham to score 25 plus points. That's an alt line, but it's not too far down. It's like 20. It was at 27.5 earlier, but I just wanted a little bit of cushion for that upset.
Okay.
OG Anunoby to record 2+ steals.
Ooh, 2 steals.
How likely is that? His line for 1 steal was -1,000.
Wow. Okay.
But the 2+ is still a decent number. It's not like -300 or anything.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Butler just had a 5-steal game.
And I threw in the Knicks money line. I kind of meant to take it out, but I'm leaving it in, and I'm confident I left it in because they're 7-point favorites, and I don't think the Pistons have an answer for Jalen Brunson in New York.
That's fair.
Like while
Detroit was like a feel-good regular season story, kind of hot at the right time, but I think just not on the same level as a team like the Knicks.
I mean, I think the Magic are a little bit young to go too deep in the playoffs, and this team's younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just getting successful. So that is at +406 when I got it earlier. And then I did another same game parlay. This one is the Nuggets.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook over 4.5 rebounds. It seemed like the way the game was shaping up, he's getting in there and getting some boards. Jokic over 45.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's an alt line.
In the first quarter, right?
No. No, I thought about riding the ladder here. Mid same game parlay. Let me give you this. I thought about riding the ladder here because his over/under for PRA is 49.5. Bet the 50, bet the 55. Just see if Jokic sometimes has to do more when they lose. So if they won the first game, I think he got right up to 50 last game anyway.
His 61-point game recently was a loss, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying.
Christian Braun to score 10+ points. That's an alt line, but he disappointed in game one. I'm really hoping he'll just kind of get back up. His shooting percentage just needs to be a little bit better this game.
He comes off the bench, right?
Not really, no.
No?
Kind of starts.
He's starting five.
I mean, if we're gonna look at the exact starting five, because I've got it pulled up.
I know he played a decent amount against the Hornets. We keep referencing that game because we went in person together. So it's just a good point of reference for us when we're talking Nuggets. But he played a good bit during that game.
The starting lineup allegedly: Jamal Murray, Christian Braun, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, who's game time decision, and Jokic.
Okay.
But Westbrook is going to get so many minutes. Like, that's the only thing that could cost me on the same game parlay. Is the fact that Westbrook might regress and get less minutes in this game. But I'm thinking that you're going to keep the same. I mean, he's going to be changing him out throughout the playoffs. That doesn't mean you change him out while you're still at home playing the same team you just managed to beat. It seems like you figure something out.
Yeah.
I think you'll exploit that. So overall, that one, and Jamal Murray to score 15-plus points. He did that easily last game.
Okay.
I wanted a safe leg there.
Do you want to give it that again from the top down since we had a little bit of a discussion in the middle there?
Westbrook over 4.5 rebounds. Jokic over 45.5 points, rebounds, assist. Christian Braun to score 10-plus points. Jamal Murray to score 15-plus points. That's plus 393 with those alt lines.
All right. Not bad.
Yeah. So what I did to mitigate loss was to mitigate loss, what I did is I round robined all those props also. So I did some of my money on the same game parlays so that if like all of one game hits, you'll get it. But we know that we talk about it on the show all the time. 3 and 4 leg parlays are a little bit of a long shot, no matter how easy the legs seem, because it's the playoffs. You can make the because changes with the sport.
Right.
3 or 4 leg parlays are long shots for a reason. There's a reason you're getting more than double your money. So what I did was I took all of the 8 legs and I did them all in a round robin by twos, because obviously they're from the same game. Not every book will let you do that, but I was only allowed to do them by twos because I'm sure it was matching up that way.
Yeah.
So that way, if let's say that I miss one leg in each same game parlay, that would usually be just pain, right?
Yes.
Well, with the round robin, I'm going to hit 8 out of 10 and make a lot of that money back. So
right. Yeah. It probably still maybe even profit a little at that point if it's that
exactly.
good. Yeah.
But you need to plan that strategy out ahead. You can't like put all your money in on the 2 same game parlays and then then you've got to go in double heavy on those sides, and it's gambling. You could just lose all of them. Like that's always possible.
Right. Are you a fan of any like NBA futures, like anybody to win the finals or win either conference?
I don't want to look that far, but I like betting on the current series a lot more than betting on the current game. That's why, if you noticed in my Nuggets same game parlay, I didn't bet them to win. I want that parlay to be able to hit whether they win or lose.
Yeah.
But I have gone heavy on the Nuggets to win the series. I've bet them on the series spread, on the series money line, because they were dogs right before game 1 started.
Yeah.
Now they're heavy favorites. I got them at plus 1.5 games on the series. So if it goes to game 7, that bet cashes anyway.
I think the question would then become, can they get past the Thunder in round 2 if it comes to that?
They match up better with the Thunder than the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
They split games with the Thunder this year. They beat the Thunder twice.
Well, they wouldn't see the Timberwolves potentially until the Western Conference Finals.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. And I mean, that's if the Wolves get through the Lakers, then most likely the Rockets.
If the Timberwolves look like they're about to lose to the Lakers, or if you want to wait till they actually do lose to the Lakers, that's when you start loading up some Nuggets futures to at least make the finals or get out of the West. Because who is left in their way? OKC is in their way, but OKC is like, when we say the Magic are inexperienced and young, why are the Thunder not young also? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, SGA's a lot better. He's leading
there's
the league.
More star power there, yeah.
But, I mean, they could split games, and then it could come down to the Nuggets experience. I think a lot of people were underestimating the Nuggets because of the lack of a head coach. But you got to remember, it's the NBA.
Yeah. And again, Jokic is on that team.
He's a counselor. Like, he's just going to keep the peace. Once he can't keep the peace, you replace it with someone who can. All these dudes are freak athletes who can play basketball.
Yep. And make millions and millions of dollars. They don't. Yeah. Some of these coaches are really just kind of there.
So, F1 or NFL next? What do you think?
Let's do F1.
Okay. Whatever you want. It's like I asked.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find my window. What did you? Well, do you want to start on the race or what?
Sure. Well, yeah, if you're getting something pulled up here, it was really cool race. I'd actually never, since we're just getting into it, like we've been saying, I'd never seen a race at Jeddah, but really liked the track, just like the skyline being there. The fact that it was a night race, the actual like mechanics of the course itself. I thought there were a lot of really cool like zippy turns that really challenged a lot of the drivers and the tested the cars. Noticed that no one was using soft tires like ever. Which was interesting. Was watching with somebody that was like, what does the M mean next to their names? I was like, funny you should ask. It's actually how hard their tires are. And when he asked me that, I just like, hey, no one's running with S's. Interesting. But no, it was cool. It was a fun race. We had some lead changes. Had something happen for the first time this series. Right. It hasn't happened yet. Yep.
Oscar Piastri grabs his third win in 5 races, becoming the first non-pole winner of the season and the new Drivers' Championship leader. McLaren's setup dominance in practice did not yet pole, but Piastri's blistering launch from P2 forced Verstappen into a mistake. That was the biggest part of the race, and it happened at the beginning. They were talking about it. As they're getting ready to lights out and away we go, they're saying, Piastri has got the better edge on this turn, and you've got to be careful. He's going to grab it. Verstappen goes off the track to try to keep the lead, and he does, but then he gets penalized for going off. So we'll get back to that. Lando Norris first.
Yeah, he was fun to watch. He almost got knocked out early when a couple of our favorite drivers met their unfortunate demise.
Oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk. Yeah, he crashed in Q3, started P10, made an impressive recovery to P4, but lost the championship lead. Didn't podium.
No, very very close. It was Charles Leclerc, I believe, that was just ahead of him there on the podium at 3. Yep.
Max Verstappen delivered a near-perfect pole lap, but was penalized for that turn 1 contact we just talked about. So settled for P2 with good race pace, but said it is what it is post-race. Now trails by 12 points. Sean, I want you to do me a favor real quick.
Okay.
Just go into your web browser and type in the words Aston Martin, Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Did you just hear a cat?
I did. Yeah. What was that? I'm guessing it was a cat. No. Okay. So he is Max Verstappen linked to a $300 million Aston Martin deal ahead of the Miami Grand Prix.
What's up with that?
What is up with that? Offer will be funded by Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Fund, which owns about 20.5% of Aston Martin's Formula One team.
Yep. So he'd be taking that Saudi money.
And he's already not trying to return with Red Bull, right?
Well, he's under contract with Red Bull for a while. I think they're next year.
Okay, so then is he allowed to accept this money? Is this even money that he is accepting? This certainly seems interesting. I need to understand a little bit more what exactly it means.
While there are reports of Aston Martin offering Max Verstappen a lucrative deal and Verstappen's contract with Red Bull includes a potential performance clause, it's not definitively confirmed whether he's allowed to accept the deal. The current status is that while reports suggest Aston Martin is actively pursuing Verstappen, there's no official confirmation from either party.
Okay, so I'm asking the right questions, it sounds like.
Yep. Shout out to Gemini for that one.
Interesting.
Back to the race that just happened, now that we're done talking about Verstappen, but I thought we had to get that little Verstappen nugget out there.
No, that is certainly very interesting.
Let's see, put that at... Boom. All right, so Mercedes, George Russell qualified in P3, but no podium. Both him and rookie Kimi Antonelli finished 5th and 6th, yet the team deemed it underwhelming. I mean, yeah. Because if Gasly had not wrecked along with
Yuki.
Yuki, thank you, Tsunoda. I blanked.
You're good.
I just want to. It's not even in order, but I want to go ahead and get to that part.
Sure.
That ruined it for me. So I had 10 small bets on F1.
And lap 1.
I made these bets based on chaos. I knew this course had chaos. So I thought that Gasly and Tsunoda might benefit from the chaos.
Mm.
And I had and it was like literally singular dollars, because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. You're testing a market. Don't put a lot of money into something you don't understand yet. But I had Gasly and Tsunoda in the points, trying to both get top 6. Like, I had kind of tied those two. I had both Red Bull drivers in the top 6. You can't do that if one retires. 6 of my 10 bets died with that crash, with the Gasly crash and the Tsunoda crash. Like, just when I was like, no, come on. It was like when Tsunoda was trying to keep his car going post-crash, got it all the way to the pit, and then they retired it. I'm like, I thought I had a shot.
Yeah.
I had a shot.
He wanted, I mean, of course he wanted to keep going. To have it happen like right out of the gate like that. That sucks.
That's the safest thing about driving compared to athletes. When there's an injury to the car, it either goes or it doesn't. It's not faking, not having concussion symptoms to get into a game. It's not like, doing all these things and then it's just it works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there? I mean, Williams double points finish. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, P8, P9. That would have been a good get if you had picked both the Williams drivers to get into the points. That probably would have paid out. Yeah. Charles Leclerc to podium. Took Ferrari's first podium of the year with a well-managed race and long first stint on mediums. Out-qualified Hamilton for the 4th time in 5 races. Hamilton left Mercedes to go to Ferrari and be like Tom Brady with Tampa Bay. Instead, he's kind of like become second fiddle. And you're even seeing George Russell finish ahead of him a lot. Qualify ahead of him a lot. Like,
yeah.
He hated to see, like, look at the finishing lineup for me real quick. At P7, who's right ahead of him? Not one, but 2 Mercedes cars.
Yeah.
The team that he basically established this reputation for, that he left. He said everybody secretly wants to drive for Ferrari. Well, how's the secret? Grass greener?
Yeah. Right.
It's interesting. Haas, no points after 3 straight Grand Prix with a top 10. Ollie Behrman couldn't repeat last year's Jeddah magic. They slide to 6th in the constructors. I think that's about all of the headlines I had. I mean, let's go back. Let's give Oscar Piastri his flowers again real quick.
Yeah. Back-to-back wins. And like you said, first driver that wasn't in pole position won to win the race.
Yeah. 3rd win in 5 races.
And that. So he's on a tear.
The Aussie now holds a 10-point lead over teammate Lando Norris and leads the championship for the first time in his career. All these struggles for Verstappen and the fact that Hamilton did not emerge from Ferrari immediately having everything, working, and the fact that Mercedes didn't seem to find the next Max Verstappen to replace, Lewis. It all equals into McLaren. McLaren got to keep its drivers. They were the best team last year, right? So they're fresh off of constructors, and now they've got drivers competing for the top. I mean, who has it better right now than McLaren?
Yeah, no, certainly from just the few races that I've been paying attention to, it seems like that's kind of the top team.
Yeah, they're not hurting for it at all.
No.
All right, I think that's all we had to say about that. I mean, and we have time to dig into the whole Max Verstappen of the Aston Martin of it all, because there's no race on the calendar next week, as I said. So next week when we don't have something to cover, we'll look at all the news and the nuggets and see where everything's lining up.
Yeah,
let's get into
the Miami time. Sorry.
No, it'll be Miami time. Speaking of Miami, look above your head, man. It's time to talk NFL. Draft time, draft time, draft time. Spoiler warning, we might predict the entire thing. That'll just make it cooler. That'll just make it cooler to watch if we were right about everything. You ever think about that? Okay, so we haven't figured out our terms. We were trying to come up with something that would offset smokescreen.
For like a game, like the name of like a little game we could play. You know, like I don't know, like red light, green light.
Buy or sell, something like that.
Yeah.
Gas or go.
Smoke screen and pinto bean is the leader in the clubhouse, and we're not even sure what it means.
We don't even know what that means, but we think you guys might be interested if you read it. Smoke screen or pinto bean. Is there any significance to a pinto bean? Tell me what your thoughts are.
I mean, they're pretty good for you. They're pretty. I thought you were gonna say, tell me your thoughts on pinto beans.
No, I'm glad you were ready for that. You were like, I've got so many thoughts.
I've been waiting for this question.
Oh, you were ready? There isn't any deeper symbolic or cultural meaning behind this visual description. The name pinto bean refers to the bean's speckled or mottled appearance, similar to the coloration of pinto horses. It translates to painted, dappled, or spotted in Spanish.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, they're probably pretty good for you, better than other things, and like, you know, better than a smoke screen, more real than a smoke screen.
How about
but anyway?
How about real tip or smoke screen? No,
well, that doesn't rhyme.
How about we just say like that's I don't know. How about I just do this?
I like it.
If I like it, I'm just gonna do that. You figure out how to do it your own way. But if we don't like it, we just know it's a smoke screen. I wish we had a sound effect.
But that's what I love watching.
I was gonna recommend something from Elliot or something like that.
What
about the punch or something?
Gutbuster.
Or we could do the football time.
That should be the no.
Yeah.
Or the smoke screen or whatever. Yeah. There we go. We got the ding ding and the tackle. That's what we can call the segment. Ding ding or tackle.
Perfect. Ding ding or
Nailed
tackle. Write it down. Write it down before somebody takes it.
Yeah, it's probably already taken. A name that good. Are you looking it up right now?
No, I'm typing it out so we don't forget it. All right, ready? I'm going to give you these as quick as possible. We're going to try not to talk about any of them for too long. We just want to get the facts out to you, okay?
Okay.
This might be the murkiest draft in recent memory after the top 3 picks. Teams say the guy going 10th might be the same quality as the guy going 32nd. It's all about fit and flavor. I'm buying that.
Oh yeah, totally. The first 3 we pretty much know.
I'd argue that teams are just getting better at drafting, and that's why it's like that. Because it's like everyone used to think everyone was going for the same kind of prospects, but now it seems like there's at least enough good GMs to realize, like, wait, maybe the guy that throws it 80 yards isn't best for my system all the time. Rounds 2 and 3 are where the meat is. Multiple front office folks think the value of this draft is day 2. One team doesn't even have any quarterbacks with a first-round grade. I'm buying that. Do you buy that?
Yeah, I think that checks out too.
This draft has more questions than answers. No elite tackle, no consensus corner. Even the best edge guys aren't surefire stars, but there are a ton of good players.
Yeah, like we were saying, more starters than stars in this draft.
Okay, so I've got a couple of categories we can go through real quick. Do you want to do quarterback chaos nuggets?
Always.
Here's an old one, and we'll skip through it. One team said Cam Ward would have been quarterback 7 last year, and it's not close. That's how weak this quarterback class is seen, despite the hype. There might be more quarterbacks taken Friday than Thursday. Watch picks 33 through 40. Browns, Giants, and Saints could spark a Friday quarterback run. Don't be shocked if only 1 or 2 quarterbacks go in round 1. I mean, so far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, totally. We've been talking about, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart. We wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of them go round 1.
Some teams have Louisville's Tyler Shuck as quarterback 1, not Cam Ward or Shedeur.
Right. That's there's always, it seems like every year, a name that comes up late that people start talking about. I mean, like days before, kind of like where we are right now. I know he's been talked about for a week or so now, but he's definitely kind of that late arrival to the conversation.
Yeah, he's 26 but mature. Some teams love him. Could sneak into late round 1 only because if they like say the Steelers or somebody who needs a quarterback to work this year, he's the guy that can just go.
Yep.
Jalen Milroe is this draft's lottery ticket. One exec said Milroe's the only quarterback faster than Lamar Jackson. Not polished, but he might have the highest ceiling of anyone, even higher than Cam Ward. Are you buying that, or is that smokescreen from Milroe's camp?
That seems like smokescreen. Yeah. Nice.
That's the smoke engine.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think other people would have been putting him in the conversation in the top, 3-4 guys if that was truly the case.
I have a solid source on Alabama prospects. He watches every game. He's very critical of every team he's ever liked.
Right.
And he said, and every time I send him something where somebody's complimenting Jalen Milroe, he says that person should be fired.
So there you go. I mean,
he's like, if the NFL quarterbacks need to miss wide open receivers routinely, then he would be the best guy, is what he said.
Yeah. I don't think that's what anyone's, going into the draft this weekend looking for.
Where is Shadir going to go? Let's look at it.
Yeah.
No team has scouted a player like the Giants scouted Shadir. They were everywhere. Games, practice, pro day, private workout. Joe Shane basically lived in Boulder, is what one report said. But even the Giants aren't unified on him. There's a split in the building. If they really like him, they'll take him at 3. If not, maybe they trade back and try again later. So if the Giants trade back and don't take one of these, what we just said from other reports was a surefire top 3 pick. Like, apparently, if you pick in the first round and it's 4 or later, you are just trying to find your card. And if you're picking in the top 3, there's one with gold, bronze, and silver ready. Right?
Right. Yes.
So if they trade back, it's a lock on Shadir. And they know they're going to get him because nobody else even has a first-round grade on him, apparently. Deion Sanders' kid. I mean, I don't know. I'm torn on the whole idea if he's going to be good or not. Who knows?
Well, he could go to someone like the Giants at 3, and he could fall all the way down to like Pittsburgh or something at 21, like you were saying. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, what's going to play out with Sanders. He's going to be the one that the cameras, don't get off of, for the coverage, the broadcast.
Right.
Kind of like the Aaron Rodgers year. It was like we basically had an Aaron Rodgers cam. I think that's going to be.
They've tried really hard to undo that, and ironically, it's the guys that stay home with their families and have a webcam that I think are subjected to it more because it just gets turned on. Roger Goodell started grabbing the quarterbacks and prospects that slip and like moving them to a back room after the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
I think it was some time after, though.
So that they don't get like a bad look on camera.
Jersey Justin just messaged me. I've got a live bet for everybody that I don't agree with at all. I think he's messing with me. He said Clippers money line lock.
Nice. Okay, Clippers money line lock. You don't like hearing that, huh?
I don't, but I mean the Clippers are too good to not win a game, so the second game in Denver would be one to steal if you're going to try to make a run at the series. If the Nuggets can take you down 2 games before you have to travel, not good because they travel pretty well.
Yeah.
So, back to our NFL talk. Steelers are lurking. They didn't expect Shadir to fall, but if he slides to 21, they might pull the trigger, or someone might trade up right ahead of them. So, the Steelers at 21, with the possibility of a 1-year Aaron Rodgers rental. They're waiting to see if their credit checks out so they can rent this 41-year-old quarterback for a year.
Nobody wants him. Poor Aaron.
No, Aaron doesn't want... Well, Steelers want Aaron. They want him. He's keeping them waiting. All the reports say that.
Yeah, we'll see.
He went on Pat McAfee's show and said that.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin he doesn't need to BS you.
Yeah, he went on TV and said, hey, guys, listen, it's not me, it's them. Sure.
I've got people in my circle that are dealing with things, so I need to figure that out. I've only done this for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Successfully, always picked a team by this time, and probably had a lot of personal turmoil in those years. But this time, now that I'm 41, guys, Like, we got to be calm, okay?
Yeah.
Shadir's NFL journey will be reset his first time not playing for Dion. Some scouts say that could actually unlock his growth. Others say any team drafting him needs to brace for Dion rumors if the coach struggles. The only reason I could see the Cowboys taking Shadir is if he falls to them. Everyone was saying there's not that many quality quarterbacks, blah, 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 or like quality this, that, or whatever. Cooper Rush left town.
Yep.
You take Shadir and it gives you an insurance card to make sure that, because like that's probably what the Giants are thinking too. The coach is on the hot seat. He probably is the last person that wants to take Shadir, a rookie who might do well enough to inspire hope, get him fired, and then bring his dad in to be the coach in the Big Apple.
Yeah. But you think that's kind of the path that's going to be taken in Dallas? There could be taken in Dallas.
I think if Dallas, the Giants, any team short of the Steelers or somebody like that with an entrenched head coach,
yeah,
you definitely have to worry about the Dion rumors, and that's something you have to take in for a quarterback that, other than his name, is a really quick processing guy that has to be in the right system. I don't know.
I think we'd have to go back and listen, but I'm pretty sure I predicted long ago that either Deion Sanders or Bill Belichick would eventually be the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Trade and drama watch news. Okay. No first-round trades yet. Closest it's ever gotten to the draft without one.
Everyone still owns their first pick. It's crazy.
Yeah, lack of blue-chip quarterbacks is the big reason. They could change fast Thursday night. Could change fast.
Could.
The Falcons quietly want to trade Kirk Cousins. They want the acquiring team to eat $20 million of his $45 million guaranteed. Nobody's bitten yet.
Well, we had a little bit of breaking news right before we came on air here. We did learn that they signed Easton Stick. I mean, he's not a superstar by any means, but it is kind of tipping their hand a little bit.
Why do they need to? Why get Easton Stick on the team if you're going to be keeping Kirk Cousins? You want to make sure you've got a backup quarterback in place.
Right. So I think we can lend a little more credence to the fact that they might be trying to move Kirk.
If you are the Steelers, this is the question for you, my friend. If you were the Steelers, you're Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
Would you rather trade for Kirk Cousins and eat some of that contract and get a guy that you know has done this year after year with wide receivers, and he can, he wasn't very good last year, but he's coming off an injury that usually takes 2 years to get right from. It's the same excuse everyone's making for Aaron Rodgers. We forgave him, but for some reason Kirk Cousins is being put in injury jail. Anyway, would you rather go for the Kirk Cousins route or draft Shadir?
Probably, it's tough. Probably Kirk Cousins for now, because I think he's still got a couple good years left in the tank. Yeah, and I'm not one of the people that's super sold on Shador. So I think I would rather go with a quarterback that I know can do it. Maybe he won't every game. He didn't look great at the end of last season for sure. But I think I go with the proven asset there, and then look forward at what might be coming up, in the next draft and 2 drafts from now, and just start really doing some extra scouting on some young quarterback talent in college.
I think that honestly, I think if you need to figure out if Kirk has it. If you know that Kirk Cousins still has it, then you need to try to get him, because the other team you might go to is the Browns in your division. Do you want the Browns to get this ready-made quarterback that's already worked with the head coach in that system before?
Right. So, and maybe throw into Travis Hunter.
Exactly. So if you put Shadir there, or if you put them in a position where they have to go get Shadir or a rookie quarterback to be named later, you have a veteran. It gives you at least an edge this year. And I mean, if you were going for Aaron Rodgers, that's all you were planning for anyway.
Yeah, and I like the edge that Kirk provides more than I like the edge Aaron provides.
Why do I feel like Jalen Milroe could go to 21 and it wouldn't be that big of a shock?
Yeah, no, I don't know that he would go that early personally.
I just think because that's the Steelers. I can see the Steelers taking it.
Well, over guys like Jackson Dart and Shador Sanders.
Who? If the consensus in the coaching ranks really is that this guy is second only to Lamar Jackson in speed.
Yeah.
And you're the Steelers coach who's been taking on Lamar Jackson twice a year and in the playoffs sometimes, you see the value of that. That's something you see the value of, right?
Which guy are you talking about? Who's that fast?
Jalen Milroe. That was one of the notes I gave you earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scouts are saying his speed is second only to Lamar Jackson, but his floor is not very high. Like, he could be completely terrible. He needs to be fine-tuned. So if you take him at 21, you really need Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. So it could be both. Yeah.
And I think to your point, with Aaron Rodgers comes a little bit of drama, and I think you rock the boat less. You know, if the Steelers go with Kirk, I think then also bringing in a rookie rocks the boat less. Whereas if they bring in Aaron Rodgers and draft somebody like Sanders, that kind of rocks the boat a little bit.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was kind of getting panned a little bit like Jalen Milroe. It was just a deeper class. Like, I think there was more quarterbacks that year.
Yeah.
But the Steelers might be trying to emulate that. They just watched the Eagles win. How did the Eagles do that? They got a quality quarterback in the second round, a year that not a lot of people were buying quarterbacks. So the Steelers might take a position of need in the first round, trade for Kirk, and then when nobody's looking, come back and get Milroe in the second.
Yeah, I could see that. Not ridiculous.
Not ridiculous. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to. Okay, here's some more interesting insider nuggets. We haven't even gotten to the mock draft, but this is just all the insider information that's leaking.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the Eagles and the Texans. Philly has 20 picks over the next 2 drafts. They could buy a veteran if the board doesn't fall their way. Houston's Nick Caserio makes more trades than anyone. If you're looking for the next fire sale, check the Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, and Jalen Hyatt are all names being whispered as potentially available. If the Giants are trying to move those names, it makes sense to me that they grab one of the big players at 3, and then if they get worried about Shadir going to the Steelers at 21, they might be trading back up to 20 or 19.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me for a team to trade back up into the first and get a couple of guys in the first.
Okay, player-specific insider nuggets. Ready?
Okay.
Elliott's not here, but he's got a prayer. The Bears are praying Ashton Genty falls to 10. One exec said Ben Johnson wants to build a Lion-style Gibbs-Monty duo with him and Swift.
Yeah, that could work out. That could be really fun.
If the Raiders are smart, that could work out, because the Raiders getting a nice running back before they get a line is like buying a Ferrari in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. It's going to be
definitely
nice.
Turn heads, but it might not be for the right reasons.
It might get all banged up.
Yeah.
Might have some nicks in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I already heard this from Todd McShay, and if you can bet it, go ahead and bet it. Jets love Tyler Warren, top tight end on their board. Todd McShay, when it was plus 400, plus 700, he said, I'd go ahead and pencil that in if you're a gambler. Not that I'll tell you what to do with your money.
Yeah.
By the time I heard it on a podcast, it had dropped to like plus 300. But if you live in a state where you can bet the draft, Sean, that's you, not me. Jets love Tyler Warren, so you should look that up. He had a private workout with the Jets and a follow-up visit with the Giants. Keep an eye out.
All right.
Mason Graham might not go to the Jags at 5 after all. Some think Jonty or... Wait, how do you say it? Ashton Genty?
Jonty, I think, is correct.
Jonty, did I have it right?
I think so. Yeah.
Some think Jonty or Jalen Walker are their preferred fits for the Jags, but Graham to Vegas at 6 is a real possibility. Yeah, if a good offensive lineman falls to the Raiders, as much as I hate to say this, they should do that. Yeah. I would much rather them take a bunch of splashy players and not protect them. So please, take the running back. I don't care how good he is. He gonna be under fire. Emeka Igbuka has huge fans around the league, called the safest wide receiver in the draft by one exec. Even Will Howard, his college quarterback, says he's like a quarterback in a wide receiver's body.
Interesting.
Sounds like a little bit of a Julian Edelman type. Like people like his knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready to go through our mega mock?
Let's do it.
I'm doing the timestamps too, so we can both do it.
Nice.
Trying to see if we have enough of them, we can combine them.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so if you didn't hear at the top of the show, we did a mega mock. We took all of the experts that we would usually trust to do mock drafts with, Honestly, some of the ones that I trust don't release their information until the day before. So these are all the ones that actually put it out already. We're talking, I don't know if I should name the specific experts just to cover ourselves, just in case. But I will be naming some guys that throughout the process, I'll be naming them if in the first round who they like. If there's one expert who dissents, I'll be giving them the shout out.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, round 1 picks 1 through 5 breakdown. We'll start here. Cam Ward. Let's move on.
Yep, easy.
Nobody disagrees. The Browns. This is one that's been kind of talked about, I would say. Travis Hunter to the Browns is gaining a lot of steam.
Yep.
I mean, Dame Brugler, Kiper, Yates, they all have Hunter here. Bucky Brooks has them taking Shadir Sanders, and Daniel Jeremiah goes with Abdul Carter instead. So it's worth noting, not that I'm saying Daniel Jeremiah is better than those other 3 guys, but Daniel Jeremiah was referred to as, like, at the NFL Network, his mocks are the ones that they're told to go by. Like, that's their Mel Kiper at NFL Network is Daniel Jeremiah.
Right.
So I cannot believe the Browns don't want to get what could be this great edge rusher to put next to Myles Garrett for free after you just paid Myles Garrett. It makes too much sense for them to do it.
Yeah, that's the Cleveland Browns we're talking about.
If you're Travis Hunter, do you play wide receiver or corner? And then you're going to do a couple plays on the other. I know he says he's going to do both, but you've got to primarily be one.
He doesn't seem to think so, man.
I'm just saying, like, even if it's like a 50-play, 30-play split,
right?
Which one are you leaning?
I would, if I'm him or if I'm the Browns.
Him.
I'd probably rather. Well, I'd say probably receiver. I think you have
more money, but if you're the Browns,
more money, more star power. Yeah. Also, probably receiver. Okay. I think you're putting a talented skill player in a more likely position to score.
So Bucky Brooks likes Travis Hunter at 3 to the Giants. Everyone else has Abdul Carter.
No.
Right. Edge, Penn State. Jeremiah says Shadir Sanders goes here. So again, the dissension continues.
Right.
Will Campbell, offensive tackle, who we just heard from our draft nuggets would. Oh wait, no, that's a different tackle. Sorry. Patriots will get Will Campbell, offensive tackle. I think.
Yep.
The only way this is wrong is if they like a different offensive tackle. They got to grab one.
Or if they trade out of that pick.
That's a dream come true. But if what we're hearing from our draft intel was correct, after pick 3, nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's nobody cares, Sean, from pick 4 to pick 32. They're like, I'd rather pay them less. I will draft later. Jaguars, Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. So this is the one that seems etched in stone according to our AI mock, but some of our intel notes say that this week that does not seem locked in. So that Mason Graham pick, while our AI says yes at number 5, our minds say no. So we'll see what happens.
I think it's a good pick for them. He's drawing comparisons to guys like Aaron Donald. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I want to look up how to say this. Ashawn Genty, number 6 to the Raiders, which again, we don't think they should do, but everyone thinks they will do. Everyone thinks Pete Carroll's old and he's going to see, legendary running back. I need to get that. But it's like, without an offensive tackle, good luck, bro. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that maybe look up offensive. Can you do me a favor? Look up for the rookies offensive tackle, like tiers. See if anybody's got some tiers out for that. Because if there's only 2 good ones and they're both gone, that might be the reason everyone has the running back going. But if we're right and the Jaguars actually trick everybody and go a different direction, well, it's a defensive tackle, but the Raiders could use help on both lines.
Right.
Like they only paid one guy. Do you have the team needs in front of you?
I do have that, and there's not really tiers for that.
Well, what do you have for the Raiders and the Jaguars?
Yeah, Raiders offensive line, defensive line, cornerback and receiver and running back.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Watched them lose a lot. So if
there's
there's
the Raiders.
I mean, if you're picking at 6, are you taking a running back or are you going to try to get an offensive lineman or something to keep your Geno Smith upright?
linemen. If you have a good enough line, you can get a journeyman running back, and he can do work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Doesn't have
definitely.
to
What
be
other
pretty.
team did you want team needs for?
It was going to be the Jaguars just to see which way they might go.
Okay. Defensive tackle, defensive end, safety, linebacker, and receiver. So like everything on the defense. So again, Mason Graham makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's not that hard for them to do this.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's where we get to the names where I'm going to butcher them. Jets
Okay.
getting offensive tackle from Missouri, Armand Membo.
Okay.
However, Bucky Brooks is in on our Tyler Warren news. He has Tyler Warren going there at 7. So
Yeah.
if you want to believe our insider notes and you can bet on it, I would sprinkle Warren to the Jets at 7. Them taking an offensive tackle and being predictable, I would bet against that every time. They're the Jets.
Yeah, and getting Justin Fields, a big reliable tight end, is a smart move.
Yeah, you signed a quarterback to a decent you're starting kind of deal.
Yeah.
And he's like 32nd and 31st in a lot of passing. So yeah, get him a really good tight end as fast as you can. If it isn't the annual Panthers draft spot, it feels like they're at 8 or 1 all the time. And all the years they were at 1 or 2, they didn't even have their own picks anymore. So
Yeah. I think they're finally past the trade.
with the Broncos pick 9, where were the Panthers? 8. Just saying. Jalen Walker, Edge, Georgia. No notes. Do it. What are y'all waiting on? Do it. Like,
Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward. I mean,
Now,
it's not gonna be Abdul Carter. Like that's just simply not happening. So I
Yeah.
think that Walker makes the most sense by far with what's going to be available to them.
now we talked about how Daniel Jeremiah had he had Mason Graham slipping. This is where he had Graham slipping too, defensive tackle. So it's the same need they'd be addressing, but if they have Graham higher up on their board,
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I think if he's still there, then definitely take a hard look at him for sure. But it's either way, it's going to be some sort of defensive pick. I think makes the most sense for them, by far.
I mean, getting an edge or a defensive tackle from Georgia or Michigan, last year's teams, does seem like a great idea.
Yeah,
Saints, 25% consensus. Nobody knows what they're going to do. So only Mel Kiper and Field Yates have Shadir at number 9. Shadir Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. The Athletics, Dane Brugler takes wide receiver Tatario McMillan. How do you say that one?
I think I need to see the name. I think that's right though.
Tatario?
McMillan. Yeah,
It's the wide receiver that's been consensus number 1.
Yeah, exactly. The best receiver in the draft.
Let's see if we can get his name right. I'll say. Tatairo McMillan. Tataroa McMillan.
There you go.
Tataroa. Yeah.
T-Mac.
There have been a couple of drafts that had him slip into the Broncos. We'll see if that's in here. Bucky Brooks had Will Campbell instead. So,
For the Saints.
yep.
Okay.
Then to the Bears, their consensus is this is where Tyler Warren will go, to a different quarterback. A quarterback still on the Bears that might need a tight end to throw to. Now, Bucky Brooks went wild and has the second running back going off the board at number 10, which would be quite a new year, new day. Omarion Hampton, UNC.
That would be pretty crazy. I don't think the second running back goes before the third quarterback.
And Omarion Hampton has been they've been mocking him to the Broncos a lot, who pick later. I hate to keep bringing him up, but that's who I've been watching. 49ers, there's 75% consensus that they will go with Jeddah Barron, cornerback, Texas. Only the Athletic goes a different way and says they'll go edge with Shamir Stewart.
Makes sense for them. Lots of need on that side of the ball.
Yeah, they lost a lot in the defensive side. They need to restock.
Yep.
The Cowboys would go with Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. That's a 75% consensus. This time, our dissenter is Brooks, Bucky Brooks. He goes trench heavy with Mimbo.
And Golden is the pick, assuming McMillan isn't there. If McMillan's there, of course, we just said, he is the top receiver in the draft.
But I have heard a lot of reports that Golden could be the first receiver. I mean, remember you and me, and I think Elliot talked about that note a long time ago.
Yeah.
There was a lot of whispers that Golden could be passing McMillan quickly.
Yep.
If it is, it's a surprise to them. The Miami Dolphins. Safety from South Carolina, Nick Emanuwari.
Yeah, I've heard that for them. I've heard Kenneth Grant, Michigan defensive tackle.
That's only so I didn't tell you the percentage. That's only a 25% consensus. That's what our AI came up with, but there was like almost everybody had a different pick here.
Yeah. It is kind of up in the air even from a fan's perspective. I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do.
Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive line. That's what Bucky Brooks says. Daniel Jeremiah slots Malachi Starks. Mel Kiper and Yates mock Will Johnson, cornerback. So it's literally boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Yep, and that's the Sports Illustrated lists, defensive tackle, offensive guard, offensive tackle, cornerback, and safety as needs. And so I think you just named like one of each of those.
50% consensus. Colts go with Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. It's a 50% consensus. That's because Kiper and Yates and Daniel Jeremiah see Loveland as a mismatched tight end. Bucky Brooks would take Tyler Booker, offensive guard here. Dane Brugler avoids tight end here. So he would have gone with someone completely different.
Yeah.
Falcons would take Mike Green, edge from Marshall. 100% consensus.
Ooh,
so
lock it in.
Let's see. Cardinals would take Michael Williams, edge, Georgia. 50% consensus. Dane Brugler likes Williams here, but Kiper Yates take Jade Barron, who was gone in all the other mocks, and then Brooks chooses Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. So this is when it gets kind of murky. I mean, are there any other picks? Do we want to go through the whole first round or start skipping ahead?
I think the top half is pretty good. If you have any high notes to hit, the back half of the first round, hit me with those.
Marion Hampton, running back UNC, the Broncos, 75% consensus. Again, I think Bucky Brooks was the only one that had him going number 10. And then Brooks still has the Broncos going running back with Travion Henderson. And I'm hearing a lot about Henderson is a lot better of a pass protect, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that running back, you mean?
What did I say? No, pass protect at running back. Yeah. Like, you're going to get a running back who can run through the tackles, but you also want to get one who can help keep Bo Nix safe and upright.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of the number one things Sean Payton looks for.
Right, right.
Since we talked about it so much, Steelers, Jackson Dart, quarterback, Ole Miss, 75% consensus. Nothing that we speculated on at all, but everyone thinks that Jackson Dart's going here. I think Jackson Dart is this year's sacrificial lamb. He is the smoke screen sufferer.
Okay.
There's always a quarterback who gets pumped up like Will Levis that they're going to go really high and be really great. Look at them. Look how they're built. They'll be great. They'll go draft it. Will Levis is going, so high in those drafts, right?
Yeah.
Fell to the second round?
Yep.
So
and
I think
it's already about to fizzle out in Tennessee.
Don't you see the notes coming? Jackson Dart shouldn't even show up to this draft. I'm telling you. Chargers will go wide receiver, Ohio State, Emike Ibuka. But everyone else has, the Bucky Brooks has Colston Loveland falling there. I'm hearing that the Broncos love Colston Loveland if he can get to them.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that there's a rumor the Broncos were trying to trade up. But from my sources that I actually trust, they said that the Broncos are doing their due diligence to see what it would cost to trade up. Not that they are trying to trade up, but any good team finds out what it would cost to do whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know the market. Let's see. Vikings will go guard. Nothing else really exciting in the first round that I'm seeing. The Commanders will probably take a wide receiver. That's what they think. Bills might go safety. Okay, so and then the Eagles, Super Bowl champs, edge
Yeah.
rusher from Boston College.
Nice.
Probably best trench guy that's available because they lost a couple.
Yep.
Now let's go to the meat and potatoes of the draft. The meat and potatoes, which is apparently rounds 2 and 3.
Yes.
We're going to try our best to tell you as much about this as we can so that, because we don't know these people that much either. We've done all the research we can to try to brace you guys for this. But if these are all the players you're going to need to know, we want to get to them before everyone else does. And we know from our draft notes that this could end up being a lot of a run on quarterbacks. So here's what our mock came up with for rounds 2 through 3. Browns, Donovan, the same Boston College. High value pick would be the edge rusher from Boston College if the Eagles don't get him for the Browns, basically.
If he's there, right.
Exactly. They had polarizing option, but Mel Kiper likes his arm and maturity and thinks that the Giants could go maybe Tyler Shuck, quarterback Louisville, 34.
Okay. If they don't grab a QB in round 1.
Right. If they don't trade back up for a quarterback, they do pick second in the round. But the thing is, you're right behind the Browns. So if every quarterback's there and they didn't get one at number 2, I don't know.
Yep.
Let's see any other interesting developments. I mean, the Raiders offensive tackle, it has them targeting that. The Bears would go for Travion Henderson, running back from Ohio State, if he's still there, probably at 39. Probably going off that same draft note about how Ben Johnson wants to get that kind of 1-2 punch with the Bears also. It's a deep running back draft. It's a great year to do it. If he can get one at 10 and in the second round, be like, this, my 1-2 is young. You have to figure out which one to pay.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones problems. Let's see. When's the next quarterback off the board? I mean, Dolphins, Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo, quiet disruptor.
Yeah, just still shoring up that defensive line.
Flies under radar, strong and quick, fills a much-needed trench role.
Yep.
Broncos might get Mason Taylor, tight end. LSU, I guess that would assume that they did not get Colson Loveland.
Right.
But even though they signed Evan Ingram, everyone thinks they're still going to go for tight end. And, I mean, the Panthers might get a guy named Ozzie Topillo, offensive tackle, Boston College.
Everyone needs an Ozzie.
The note says needed help. The AI was like, someone help them. The Panthers need help. The Commanders could get Jacob Parrish, cornerback from Kansas State, undersized but feisty speedster. Could be their Deebo Samuel alt if Deebo Samuel has missed a step because they already traded for him.
Yeah.
You draft a guy that profiles and see which one of them can carry the load.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean,
I like it.
I've got a lot more picks in here, but it's just like, reading all these names off on an audio podcast. Is there anybody you have questions about?
I don't know. I'm always curious. What does it say for the Eagles in those rounds? Just the Super Bowl champion,
At the end, the Eagles would go for a safety. Penn State, Kevin Winston Jr.
So more defense. So it sounds like a consensus is that the Eagles are pretty comfortable and confident on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the Chiefs? I know they're everyone wants to know what the Chiefs are up to.
Edge rusher.
Okay.
At 63.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think the draft notes were a much better segment than this one. The AI mock didn't come across quite as good as I thought it would. I'm glad we did the draft notes with the beautiful title of Ding Ding or Tackle.
That was the best, yes.
It's the best. As Elliot would say.
But that's what I love watching.
All right, so I think it's time to talk Daredevil.
Let's do it.
Let's get it going. I never put on the Jeddah race spoilers, so I hope everybody has seen the race before they tuned in. I don't know why you would tune into a video talking about the race if you haven't seen it.
It'd be kind of weird.
Or clearly not in cars. So Daredevil, like we're not inside a car, like a cockpit.
Right,
so
no, I heard you. I was just confused.
Okay. Daredevil has been born again as a series with a double entendre meaning comes to a close. Ripped off the comics, but also bringing the show back from the dead. A lot of takes on it. Overall, I think we nailed it when we talked about this before the show, about which episodes were reshoots, which ones weren't, it's night and day. It's so obvious which ones are the newer episodes, and they were the better episodes.
They were. I agree.
It's where everything happened.
Yep. And you called it with Deborah Ann Wall. I mean, like you said, we had a lot correct with kind of predictions and whatnot. What did you think of it?
I'd like to see what that Muse twist or like killing would have been like with the current creative team behind the show.
Yeah. I wonder if they would have kind of made him seemingly a one and done like that. Although we have discussed he's on set for season 2, right?
He
the
could
actor.
be coming back. Yes, exactly.
Which could be a flashback, understandably, or something along those lines. But I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of the finale, yeah, go ahead.
My initial takeaway is that they're trying to do the Defenders right this time. They don't want to admit that it didn't quite stick the landing the first time because Netflix doesn't share anything close to ratings. They just say this was the most watched, that was the most watched, whatever.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, I know a ton of people that watched it, but you don't really have a metric on who watched it.
Yeah.
I know a lot more people that watched Daredevil, the Netflix show, than watched the Defenders show where they brought them all together. So I think that him going to that room, if they had known how successful this would be and what direction they were going to take it in, that would have been filled with Easter eggs for season 2 to set it up. It would have been like Jessica Jones in that room, Luke Cage. Instead, they had to do characters and like leave it kind of murky so that I'm sure we could start season 2 with that room being more well lit. Or like maybe at the end of the first episode, they show you the room well lit and you see everybody who's in on it, do it like a heist movie or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be fun.
But it's okay. So the Eternals problem, I'll call it the problem that we have with the Eternals. Spoilers for Daredevil, Born Again. Spoilers for all MCU products that we've seen, which is a majority of them, 88% probably.
Probably more.
The Eternals problem is the fact that at the end of that movie, there's a freaking giant deity frozen over most of the Earth, and it doesn't come up any other time until like Captain America Brave New World, where they decide, all right, we're going to do something with this now, because they started branching out and doing too big of things. And I bring that to the point of the Kingpin is controlling all of New York City, and we didn't see Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, where is he? Like, Kingpin has now risen to the point where he was able to literally black out the entire city. And he's pretty much achieved his goal of making it its own city state. And like, I feel like even though, the events of a multiverse of madness happened and no one knows who Peter Parker is, or Spider-Man still exists. Like, that's the whole thing. He's still like, I feel like by now
they
he would have
mentioned
shown
him.
up and been like, what is happening? Like, what's going on? And do I need to help? Like, what? It seems like the exact thing he would be getting involved in.
It seems like so many other MCU projects, too, are like New York focused, in New York, and never seemed like Doctor Strange didn't get involved, lost his power. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, at least with him, you can you can write that like, oh,
he's in a different dimension.
He's a wizard. He's in a different dimension. Exactly. He's not here. But we're led to believe that the whole thing with Spider-Man is that he's more grounded now and he's just protecting New York. And so this would definitely be something he would need to respond to.
The answer is he's locked up in Sony legal jail, which is the reason he doesn't show up to anything.
That's really fun for us.
He just can't appear but in X amount of things. And I don't think I was reading that apparently Kingpin cannot show up in the movies. So for him to do whatever he's doing, it's got to be done on the TV screen.
That's lame. They need to work that out.
So Daredevil's going to be able to cross over a lot more, but Kingpin is kind of tied up as a Spider-Man villain. So, like, he can be in Marvel TV shows. I think that's kind of the agreement.
Yeah. So we'll get Daredevil.
That's from Vincent D'Onofrio himself. Like, he said that. He said, I can't be in MCU movies.
So we'll get Daredevil in other things, but not him. Daredevil's
already been in She-Hulk, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So that's the reason you haven't seen them do more with Kingpin, because Kingpin really could be a very good MCU multi-movie villain if they did it with the right heroes. Because it's like if you're not killing, a guy like Kingpin can come back at you more street level, guerrilla
Right.
warfare type things. It's not like he's going to have a giant robot every time. He's going to be
Yeah.
like defunding a charity or something where you can't just punch your way out of it.
Right. They do still need to show, and man, they did a great job of showing us a little bit, but like making him a little more just kind of menacing at a high level. Like, like Thanos was just like legitimately like stronger than, anything we've seen before. Like,
but you can't do that with Kingpin, and he did that the best way he can on a street level show.
Yeah.
That was a brutal scene. I love
The Gallo.
I'm glad they did the Gallo. The
Commissioner Gallo.
The Gallo crush.
Yes, that head pop, the head squeeze. I mean, right in front of the task force. I mean, that making a statement like, look, I can literally brutally murder the commissioner now, and there's not anything anyone can do or will do about it. Like,
he let the commissioner talk, then he said everything you're saying is wrong. This is what's really happening, and then killed him. And
I mean, kill is putting it very lightly.
to get censored. He crushed him. I knew as soon as we saw that conversation with him and the woman, the advisor.
BB?
No, the advisor, not BB.
Oh,
BB didn't give
yes.
away.
Yes. I got Sheila.
Yeah, when I saw that, I knew one of them was crooked, but I thought it was going to be a real twist and it was going to be Gallo. I thought she was going to get taken in, and it turned. And I think that's what they wanted you to think. They were preying on my misconception.
I don't think she's out of the woods.
But she's definitely in bed.
I think she thinks she's clear, but Fisk had that recording of their conversation that he was listening to, and now I think is operating.
I think she gave him the recording.
That
that was the reveal.
To cover
that
her.
was the reveal.
Okay, I misunderstood.
That's how she told him. Yeah. That was her giving him up. She recorded it.
Okay. I thought he recorded both of them. But
No,
you're saying she did. Okay,
because something would have happened to her too.
Well, that was the thing.
That's why they cut. That's why they cut to her looking regretful, leaning on the wall while the recording was playing. Like,
I interpreted that as her looking worried, like, what if he finds out that I was in on this too? But I see what you're saying.
No, I'm almost positive it must be that like she gave him up because like he couldn't have recorded. He would have caught the first recording if he was just recording what Gallo was saying.
No, because she seems
she
to
was
like
wearing
empathize.
the recorder.
But she also seems to like empathize, or maybe that was just her doing a good job of getting him to say what needed to be said. Get the heat off of her.
The only thing we know about her is that she's worked with every mayor in recent memory. Like she's a politician. Don't believe her.
Yeah. No, fair.
Yeah, don't fall for that.
We really saw Michael step into some more power too. Getting all those, like, was it councilmen or whatever, like in that room?
Yeah, getting all of city council, blackmailing city council into his agenda. Exactly.
Yep. And I love the way that he kind of delivered all of that. Like it's all made to be like so on the surface friendly and like, oh yeah, the mayor's just doing what he thinks is best to protect New York, and anyone that doesn't agree with them, like, we'll figure that out. Like, it doesn't seem scary on the surface or whatever, but like you're just like terrified listening to him talk.
Yeah, I don't think we're wrong about the BB Michael intertwined fate angle. I just think we're a season early. I think they're going to keep building the characters, like you said.
Yep.
I really hope that whenever BB's fate is tested, I hope that it's a turn of fate and she escapes.
Yeah.
Unlike her uncle, because that was a brutal moment in the original Netflix show when her uncle goes down. It's like, man, this guy's the soul of the show right now. Everybody else is so pessimistic, and then dead.
Yep.
Oops,
well, so we do. We've mentioned the blackout. We've got. We were also right about Frank coming back into play.
Yeah,
Frank got a lot of
back
Frank
into play.
Yeah, a lot of Frank actually.
Honestly, and I love the way they did that. They did it in a way where Frank Castle literally was not just looking at those guys and telling them what the hell's wrong with you. He was looking at the guys that proliferate the internet using the Punisher symbol and just being kind of like dicks about everything.
You're thinking there was like some deeper message going on there, like further than the show? I thought it was
clear. Yeah, I thought it was a crystal clear message. He wasn't just talking like, like the people, and I don't want to throw any specific area, but it's like
sure, I gotcha.
Super militiaed civilians who have deep beliefs will wear the Punisher symbol because it's cool. And he was saying that to them as much as he was saying it to those actors. It's like, you don't know my pain. You don't know my struggle. Like, you don't know why I do this. You're
Yeah.
not doing this while I do this.
Yeah. No, that was a cool scene. Him being, I mean, it was unfortunate that he got kind of captured and was put in that situation and everything. But like you said, him kind of not giving in that moment was cool. And the fight that led up to that, the fight with it was him and Matt, against all the guards was awesome. And like seeing like in real time the difference in their fighting styles too, where Matt's refusing to kill, of course, and then meanwhile Punisher's literally like blowing dudes' heads off.
Well, and I think too, it's also like the fact that Punisher didn't die right there because he's human. Like he probably should have died, but the fact is that every other person being held captive and the whole thing with Adam and him keeping Adam captive, like they've set up this angle to where it's very believable plot armor that the Punisher lived, if that makes sense. Like usually I'm like, oh my, okay, plot armor. Like you just all of a sudden couldn't kill anymore. I killed 12 guys on the way in here.
But since they've established like the precedent of Fisk keeping prisoners,
I think they earned it. I think they earned the payoff on that.
Yeah, that was a fun. I know we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but that was a fun after credits scene. Like saw that coming a mile away. I was like, he's definitely going to convince this guard to walk over to him.
It felt so much like Book of Boba Fett. It felt like when they were teasing Book of Boba Fett for a new show out of The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, felt very much like a show that isn't used to doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, what do you mean? You thought it was a little sloppy?
You just saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, I just saw it coming for sure. Yeah.
It just wasn't like, what's going to happen here?
Feel, at least I would think that Fisk or whoever's in charge of security down in the prison would be like, hey, don't go over to him. Like, don't approach him. Like, stay away from Frank.
He's well known in this world.
That's what I'm saying.
He shouldn't have to tell them.
Yeah, exactly.
That part's a little less believable, but you know why they did that. They needed to free up the character for whatever he does next. Yeah.
Exactly. We do get, like you were saying, so Frank came back. We kind of talked about him a good bit. We got Karen that came back. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
And that we called that. We kind of thought she was going to come back only in the episodes that were reshoots because she wasn't in the original show.
Yeah.
And it does kind of take the teeth out of the whole Heather angle of it. Until the whole moment where he says Karen's name, and it seems like that may have been the nail in their coffin. We're not sure if she might have gone full Kingpin for that reason. But
I mean, she did take a moment and pause when she was offered that position in his cabinet or whatever you want to call it. But then she like in that moment, you knew she was thinking about what he said. Fisk is dangerous, but she still made the decision. So it's one of two things. She either is kind of like you said, going like full Fisk or whatever, and that was the moment, broke the straw that broke the camel's back, or she wants to be kind of like the inside woman, so to speak. Be close to him and be able, if she does believe Matt that he's dangerous, maybe accepting that position strategically to be able to kind of really keep an eye on things from the inside.
Yeah, and it's also like the love triangle of it all. It's Heather, Karen, and it's Matt.
Yeah,
but it's also Matt
Frank
and
too.
the Punisher and Karen.
Yeah.
But see the whole thing with the Punisher is that if he couldn't love again. Like he won't give up his war to avenge his family. And by not giving up that war, not putting that down, you never open up to love again.
But I don't know that I think they might have been trying to tell us that he's never really stopped loving or at least caring. Like, I think she said something like, you still don't care, something like that, and left the room. And then he was like, be safe or something along that. I can't remember the exact way.
No, he cares about Karen, but what I'm saying is like, he's not going to romantically be able to commit to her. He's got trauma, PTSD. He wakes up screaming. He lives in a bunker surrounded by bullets and grenades.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock is over in She-Hulk hooking up with people in here, all seasons of Netflix. Matt Murdock is the man-ho of the MCU.
He took RDJ's place, Tony Stark's.
You know what? They never even did as much with RDJ as they did with this one.
Honestly, yeah, that was all Pepper. Like, we were made to kind of think that he was Playboy. I mean, they literally told us Playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. But he was only ever with Pepper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's because, he was a Playboy for one movie.
Yeah, at the beginning of one movie. Yeah.
So we'll talk more about it as they set up, but Jessica Jones reported on set. A lot of characters will probably be coming in to join this fight. I think it's going to be very much a Defenders kind of team up to see like one versus Daredevil's getting his guys. Kingpin's got his guys. Will Kingpin get some more guys to add? Who does Bullseye work for? Does Bullseye like anybody? Would he even help? Is he going to be just the third wheel anytime he shows up to fight? Yeah.
Nope.
I'm just here to win. There's reports from Set that there's already a comic book costume accurate rematch between Bullseye and Daredevil planned for sometime next season.
Okay. Nice.
So I'm seeing a lot of notes like that don't give really anything specific away except for something might happen at some point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like when you found out during the Obi-Wan show that you would get to see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight again because of that beautiful language. That's a presence I haven't felt in a long time. Vague. We can have them fight a bunch. We just have to have a little bit of distance.
What do you think the end game is for Fisk? I mean, obviously he got his Red Hook, Project Red Hook, ready to go. So he has pretty much effectively established New York
they revealed it. They said he wants a new city state. It's Red Hook. It's not New York. Yeah. He's going to control New York as long as he can. But if he retreats to Red Hook, he'll have his own independent city state outside of U.S. jurisdiction where he can legalize crime.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? And so
how could you do anything more Kingpin than make a city where crime's cool?
Well, but okay. So then what? Is he going to kick up his feet and be like, I did it? Like what? I mean, does he want world domination? Like what is his, I wonder what his next move is going to be is what I'm getting at.
Well, we have to, first of all, let's see if he even establishes the city. That's just a goal of his. He hadn't even done it yet. So it's still a shipping yard where he just doesn't want the police to go.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. I guess we'll talk more Daredevil and F1 in depth next week. If we've got stuff to talk about, or if the draft is just full of shakeups, maybe we'll go all NFL. Sorry for the long episode, guys. I'm going to try to cut these up into different topics. If there's something you just specifically wanted to watch the video of that on, I'm going to try to cut these up and see if those are more digestible sizes, because we're hitting about an hour 22 right now on the full record. Did I give out that futures bet?
Which futures bet?
NBA? I gave out the futures bet, right?
I don't remember.
Well, let's give it out real quick in case you didn't. If
you were doing some player props, I remember, and then I asked you about like who might win the finals or one of the conferences.
Well, this is just a hunch.
And then you said series.
I don't think the Warriors are going to lose to the Rockets in this series.
Mm-hmm.
They're minus 370 right now on the book I'm looking at. You tie that with the Nuggets at minus 138. You get a 2-leg parlay of plus 119. And again, those are both series bets. So the Warriors to win their series, Nuggets to win their series. In the playoffs, if you see series lines you like, it's a lot easier to bet those than to try to bet which night which team is going to win which game of the series,
Right.
So that's my one futures bet I'm giving out that's not Monday specific. If you waited till the end of the pod, there you go. I'm all in on the Nuggets, and I don't see how the Warriors are going to lose to the Rockets. It was the only dog I took confidently yesterday, as every other dog got crushed like a grape. Favorites excelled. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. We'll be breaking down all the things we usually talk about, Sean. Anything to say to the people before I give the gambling disclaimer?
All good. Everybody have a good week.
Man, I really thought you'd go longer than that.
Oh, well, sorry about that, buddy.
Are you sorry?
Yeah, I am. Enjoy the NBA playoffs this week. We don't really talk hockey, but NHL playoffs are on too. That's fun.
If you guys wanted to talk hockey, Elliot would need to come on.
That's true. Let us know if that's something you guys are missing.
Thanks for listening to the Wit Grit Podcast. Remember, we're sharing our personal betting journeys. Please gamble responsibly and within your means. If you or someone you know needs support, call 1-800-GAMBLER, text 800-GAM, or visit ncpgambling.org. Help is available 24/7 and is free and confidential. Follow me at Hammered Ian on X. Follow Sean at Sean Dizer, or you can find us and our content anywhere Hammered Shark Productions is searchable. Peace out.